Why is it that high OS games always finish early? This is not going to be one of them. This is going to be a rocket video. I've managed to find one. So we're going to delve into why that might be the case with an extra question over when is the proper time to APHIS up. As we see here, Hello Snooper looking dangerous in the top right corner, going to be a pivotal player for the Eastern team. We have Watch Me Do This, can do a lot with not much, and we have the power combo of Yanami and the glass down at the bottom right. On the left team, we're going to have a particular look at FFS from Team Stud, along with TM8D. Stardom also on the Western team, going to play a pivotal role as we see the Tick Wars start right off the bat. Amazing being able to micro that on the hill and actually assure a victory just by somehow reading the slope correctly. Probably blind luck. And this is what I really love about Beyond All Reason, is the Tick Wars out of the gates at 2 minutes. It means you cannot greed stupendously with those early constructors. You need to put out some ticks, and we see that from Watch Me Do This. About 5 offensively move forward, but there's no defensive line, so it has to double back. And TM8D does not care. Will take any casualties in the pursuit of being offensive, but does pay a heavy price in the end. Exacts an okay amount of damage, but we don't see any breakthroughs whatsoever. Okay, so we do see a breakthrough here. Now, these are death in mid or low OS lobbies. They'll always get through and cause a lot of mayhem, but not in this lobby of high OSness. The last rover is going through the forest and just sets it alight. That's about it. Up north, we can see there is actually a small breakthrough. Might take out one singular mech. That is going to be the total. Couldn't even take down one mech. The early Shuriken being pivotal, of course. One more. Try to get through. Oh. Maybe just go in for a bit of a scout. That's about it. Here we go. Finally, the breakthrough tick up north. It's going through the Ardennes. Looking to Blitzkrieg. Hello, Snooper. Clueless. Look at that. It's sneaky. But I think it's... no. Okay. Dies on the hill. Hello, Snooper. Too good. I think with the Tick Wars are now starting to finish up. Nothing can break through. FFS is putting through a reasonable army of ticks. But it's just when you're able to retreat in the face of it, a tick can only do so much. They have no tank. One hit and they're dead usually. So there we go. Completely shut down by the glass. So we're going to move on into the next phase, which is the commander coming up to the center line here. We can see Jademu actually very dangerous. Moved up super quick in the first 5 minutes, 4 minute 30 with a lot of ticks here. Stud FFS being a little bit more conservative, but did lose those ticks, to be fair. Now, a lot of solars built by Stud FFS. An amazing amount, actually. So let's see how that works for him. I'm always a bit dubious about it, but it is a bit of a lower max wind map. Yeah, it's a funny one. Like, this has a max wind of 12 kilometers per hour, but the wind does tend to hover up towards the max rather than the lower amount. So it's perhaps not as good as, let's say, the Glitters 0 to 16 in total energy produced. So let's just pause this for a moment as I try and work out where the center of the map is. Yeah, it's exactly here where Jademu is. So counterintuitively, you would expect the 4 to 12 kilometers per hour to be better, but it may in fact not be if we properly build the infrastructure. I prefer it personally. I hate running out of wind, that 1 kilometer per hour wind. Oh, it ruins it. So it's worth going solars for that. But see, solars on this map, very dubious because it never goes below 4 kilometers per hour. The only thing I can think of is perhaps it's a bit quicker to build the solars. That's why FFS may be doing it here. So Prime, we see, is going air. Very interesting choice in a wider map to go so early into the air. Those Shurikens are going to have to count for something. A breakthrough here where Stud FFS goes for the mad tank dash. At the same time, Yanami pushes forward with the very efficient whistlers. Very long range on those whistlers, but very low DPS. Tickle DPS on the whistlers. If you don't know already, the Whistler has DPS actually 1/3 of what's listed on the basic tooltip, because it adds both air and ground DPS to the equation, which is unfortunate, but still the Whistlers can be a very intimidating force if they are microed well. Up north, Miskow is under a fair bit of pressure here from 2 players at once. Doing quite well. The mass incisors an interesting play in the face of it, able to cover any run by, so a conservative play, let's put it that way. Not necessarily the most efficient in the world. So despite how it looks with the Whistlers able to exert pressure, what we in fact see is the blue team in trouble. There is a massive metal difference at the moment, almost 20 metal a second, thanks to that run by previously. So Miskow doing a fine job of holding off this aggression against 2 players, but we do see Snooper put down an early T2. Going bots early, did put down the vehicle factory, but immediately reclaiming that. The vehicles are very expensive, and if you go them, you'll tend to burn all the metal you'd otherwise float. So I think that's a wise decision there by Snooper to gain the upper hand. We see some missile truck fire, but unfortunately Jason is a little bit far away from Miskow and possibly should be pressuring Chris a little bit more, as we see FFS moving down to attack Yanami. Caught Yanami flat-footed. That's good to see. I always like to see Whistlers be punished because they have terrible efficiency, especially when compared to the Humble Stout. Absolutely demolishing those Whistlers, moving around onto the mechs. How's the center going? Because Watch Me Do This is starting to leak. We can see this front is basically not there, trying to handle the leak at the same time. Unfortunately, under heaps of pressure. We see here 2 Mouthers and a T2 Constructor. I'm a little perplexed how Snooper has afforded all this and still has 550 metal in the bank. Finally, we see perhaps a pressuring too late from both the players in the Western team. But already the T2 is there. So it pays to not have the units idle for 1 second to try and delay that T2 just a little bit. In the south, we see also this play, which I think Jadamu is calling it AIDS or AIDS play. I'm not sure why. I think because it's caught on, but the 10-minute T2 factory is definitely the meta play in the high OS lobbies, trying to get towards the slightly more efficient units. We see here a run by. It's more Miskow wondering what to do, but actually has snuck maybe 1 tank through. Snooper has been here before and knows 1 tank can be stopped with the factory. Miskow moving down, going to say, oh no, Miskow! Blocks up. Oh, Jason and Miskow. A bit of a miscommunication in the play there. Commander sacrifice onto their own tanks. Really, those takes from Jason was needed to perhaps take out that factory, and now the Eastern team is going to have a great old time of it. We see a push here from the glass onto FFS. Yes, we'll take down that Mauser. That was beautiful work. Circled around and escaped the counter response. Also Shuriken, quite the number. Where the hell did they come from? As we see this full attack evolve. The Whistlers, questionable value, but providing some line of sight. 1 Mauser, probably not enough, but a bull is there. I think this base is not long for this world, perhaps. Stud FFS, a beautiful snipe with the D-gun. Walks down menacingly the last remaining tank and kills it with the laser as the glass is in full retreat. Blue is still here though with the Mausers. Yanami though will get taken down by this last minute bull from red. Bull on bull action. And it looks like Red's bull will go down. The remaining bull, will it be enough? The sole survivor. The Mausers fully retreated. But there just seems to be 1 more bull all the time. As we see, FFS has a huge bank of metal, helpfully donated by Jademu, that is there to draw upon. So there will be a continual series of bulls coming out. Up north, Snooper is taking full advantage of that mistake and is multiplying those Mausers. A matter of time, I believe, before we see a win there.
Destroyed.
And already we've got 3 bulls out from FFS, who has the production tempo on the front line. That forward T2 factory, pivotal for these close knife-to-knife fights. I'm not a huge fan of it, mainly because I see them destroyed all the times. But when you can hold on to it, it is a game changer. A high-risk play for sure. Yanami here might get actually sniped. No, baits them in. Destroys 2 low-health bulls at once with the beam turrets. Genius play. And you think that would be a home run, but no, there's a commander and a bull, and that commander lands a D-gun. It is a clutch play from Jademu, just to be in the right place at the right time. I do think we'll see that commander fully punished, though. Will it take out his own team's bull? I don't think so. It's going to be a close running thing. This bull is not running away fast enough. Hardly touched. FFS playing with fire here. It's completely even on the front line. An utter knife fight, not going either way. The Mauser fight overwhelming and uncontested largely, because we see 2 T2 factories, one built by Jason on the front line. It's a disaster. And down south, it is even. We can't get away from this. It is too gripping at the moment. The one bull after the other coming out of this factory being absolutely pivotal and stymieing, as we see Stutter FFS bomb the Glasses commander who was coming forward to try and snipe that factory. We can't look away from this for a moment. Yanami goes down, sniped out by a 10% health bull. And I think the Western team has defended. We see a huge eco with already a reactor up from Stardom, who knows the most powerful unit in Bar is not the Sheldon, it is the T2 mechs. We see plenty of those up at the same time. There's a Starlight. So Yanami has produced a solitary Starlight here that is currently shrookened, so can't do anything. And I imagine FFS is going to... Oh no. Oh no. Okay, might have turned around. Maybe Yanami does have a plan after all. Look at that damage efficiency. 114k, 200% damage efficiency. Of course, because it's versus tanks, which will always look more impressive than it actually is. North is absolutely fried and toasted. We needed to see a lot more T1 production, I think, but the T2 transition, at least we do see some Scorpions fighting off this attack in the meantime. I don't think it's going to be enough against this huge Mauser army. 2 players utterly up against it. Jason's base, it looks like the end times. Ran out of units. The Scorpions, I don't think are going to be enough. So I think it's safe to say the North is totally gone for the meantime, as the South here also seems to have the upper hand. So we are seeing a little bit of a base trade or lane trade as such, as we see the transporters come in and pick up the build power and construction craft of Yanami's base. That was very economical. What a good tactic. Very much helping out, which is so important. Great vision and strategy from TM8D, helping in the southern lane there. And also bringing down the pawns down south to outflank this. So, seen a couple of different weaknesses and helping out the red team a lot. Here we go. So the mission proceeds. Able to sneak past all the defenses, but the Glass has responded with incisors. The Mausers are just wiping up. They have really taken out that northern part quite quickly. The Shrookens, rapid response, but the Grunts just take them down easily as well. The Grunts proving themselves to be S-tier units. And that's it for Yanami, I think. We go back to look at Stardom, who's holding the whole northern new front for the team here, the Western team. An amazing amount of shivers for the 20-minute mark. Stardom just having so much metal in the bank to be able to do that. Quite impressive. Having to hold off 2 different attacks at the moment. We see this forward base here with a rattlesnake and some construction craft. I'll do okay against this because the amount of LLTs is extreme, although it is up against a lot of tanks. I think we'll hold this off. The Sheldon's moving in. The remnants of the base Glass is still in it and takes over Yanami's much battered upon base. There's Mauser play in the centre, pressure on all fronts. Yes, so that front base of Stardom was salvaged. Now, about 20 Shivers are moving up, and I'm guessing they're going to go on the offensive here. TM-AD moving again with the transporters. Not sure what TM-AD is going to do there. Truken's stymie, but will get taken out by air. Transporters didn't quite win, but watch me do this. Hasn't got a huge force there now. And we see a bombing run of a few bombers right in the middle of Stardom's base. So that was a decent setback from the Western team. But Stardom's still in it, despite that economic damage. Moving forward with the Shivers. And if we look at the army value here, look at the massive advantage. 55k to 32k for the blue team. Funnily enough, West has got the advantage. It doesn't look like it. But that expansion might have actually doomed the Eastern team here. As we can see, these bases just fold. And it's not looking good, is it? I mean, the red player is surely going to be able to punch through all of this. Also, we see Jademu just printing out bulls. And the Shivers are here. They look unopposed. There is a Bastion getting put down, but we see quite a number of Wasps, actually. And not really any anti-air to speak of. The Shiver play, impressive as it is not backed up with requisite anti-air. And the one thing the Western team does not have is a large air force. Prime is taking full advantage of that air superiority here against the Shivers. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough though. The Shivers, we see the Commander does manage to take down one Shiver, not enough. The glass is fully taken out, and Watch Me Do This is next by the looks of it. You'll think, surely Watch Me Do This will go down to the next attack here. The momentum now is too great, but perhaps the Western team's back is broken as we see all these Shivers go down, leaving their great big tasty hulks behind. Is it enough damage? Possibly not. So at this time of having all the advantage and momentum, what do we see here? An Aphis line. Look at this. 10,000 metal already in construction turrets and Aphis at the 23-minute mark. And guys, like, I'm not saying that's the wrong way to play as we see this bull clutch take down a reactor in Watch Me Do This's base. But before the other team can build defenses, surely it's better to put that metal to work on the field rather than an Aphis line. But perhaps these players just want to see a longer game rather than a complete runaway. Unfortunately, Stardom's carrying the whole team at the moment. Asking for one thing for anti-air, not getting it. It's hard to see, though, how Snooper single-handedly stops all this and Watch Me Do This defends. Snooper here, desperately hanging on. A T3 war is underway with the Razors moving forward. But what's this? An Armageddon. Snooper has been planning, and we see you would think protected by the AN, but no. Down onto this forward base, which was spied by a previous bombing run. Fantastic vision. I must say, I'm always dubious when I see an Armageddon play and it just hits a few clutch early. Game changing. You always got to wonder if, spec cheating is in the play. I don't think it is, and I want to emphasize that. But you always have to wonder at those first game changing nukes that swing the whole game. But that was definitely scouted, that base. So vulnerable. And unfortunately, that comes down to TM-AD. It's the 25-minute mark, not building that anti-nuke defense. But that is fair enough. The pressure has been surreal. It is an expensive thing to build, just in case. Already, Watch Me Do This has stabilized in a matter of minutes, despite being under fire there from the LRPC. We see a Aphis field also, and a second launch is incoming. Where's this going to hit? Oh, right on the Geo. Nice. Absolutely unreal. TM-AD being punished there for the lack of anti-nuke. That Armageddon has 82 kills already. But look at those stats. Snooper is carrying to a massive degree here with 300% almost damage efficiency and a huge economy. Stardom and Snooper are the main characters in this war. The Shivers do have a relentless momentum, and they move forward here to perhaps attack and overthrow Snooper's economy. The LRPC doing some dastardly damage, but won't stop a fusion reactor being built on the front, which is crazy to me. Why not donate reactors to watch me do this? But there you go. The team
destroyed.
Not perhaps realizing how much they are relying on watch me do this, holding their base at the moment, which is a wreck, but still has 80 metal per second, building a mechs. Has 1500 energy. It's amazing it's still there even. The Shivers move up, but Snooper, the commander, is in a pretty good spot here, directly in the path of the Shivers. Takes down 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll be it. Takes down half the Shivers. What a painful commander. This attack just won't hit the same now. We'll still do some damage and likely wipe out that T2 factory. Jason says in the comments at this time, I'm pretty confident you all can win if you make units. I would have to agree. But it's already too late. We are into scaling territory as Watch Me Do This puts down a remarkable number of defenses, has that shield up at least in one of the bases. 4 minutes is all Watch Me Do This needed. Also from Team FFS. As we see the Shivers here take down this T2 base in the corner, quite prescient of the Shivers to attack that production center. But the atomic bombers are going to find a nice grouping of them. Oh no. Still one's alive. There we go, not for long. The atomic bombers, deadly and a great response. Another atomic launch. I think this one is going to get shot down by an anti-nuke though. So this fusion has been spotted and will be punished. Utterly blown up. Watch me do this. Yeah, only 800 energy now. Still has some metal income, but you would not think Watch Me Do This is going to be able to keep this up for much longer as we see this stream of units come in. Razors and pawns. A few more razors might have been good rather than a few more APHIS at this point of time. But it looks to be enough. You would think surely is enough. A wide set of defenses is not going to put up with an attack which punches through blitzkrieg style, but we do see something here. We do see actually defense in depth. Crazy pit bulls this far back. There are static defenses all the way through, and although this base is going to basically get obliterated, it looks like this is going to kill also the attacking force. The last razor goes down and the accompanying pawns. Massive explosions here from these resurrected Shivers who are just being thrown willy-nilly. What's this? A missile comes in, struck exactly the same spot. Stardom, you still haven't built an AN, mate. Just resurrected that. Didn't expect lightning to strike twice. A large amount of razors moving down from Team FFS, or is Stud? I don't know. I'm just going to call Red. It's too confusing at the current time. Stardom fights this off at the last minute, but there's nothing really to save. A stream of units coming in towards this threatening razors who do have a lot of momentum, but they have to cross a long distance to get to the eco. Not sure if they're going to be able to make it in time. But there are perhaps no units here to stop them, as we see all these pawns in a futile fashion try and chase down razors. Here we go. Abductors. That is going to be the answer here. No, the abductors are getting taken down. Okay. We do see a razor in the right position at the right time. They're getting very close though. Very close. Not enough units on the board defensively. That might have been the game-winning move right there. As we see, the eco is fairly constant, but the army value of the blue team has totally switched around. It is now 86% in favour of the blue team. The red team has ecoed up too much and has paid the price, although the APHIS line is still there. We also see a geo blow up from a breakthrough of razors. So another mini disaster. Although it's always dangerous to throw away razors like this. If they can't take down main targets, they are resurrected and thrown back against you. Snooper, an excellent play from start to finish so far. Look at this, another reactor being built by Watch Me Do This, resurrecting the economy, although we do see finally some donated reactors come to work for Watch Me Do This. The economy of Watch Me Do This is remarkable considering everything that's happened to him. And I do wonder what it's going to take in the meta play for critical players like Watch Me Do This to receive part of the APHIS line rather than just a solitary reactor. How much will that change the games of the future? I can't wait till we get super communism of the future and sharing of the APHIS line as we see mass deception here from Snooper with a series of ticks, a crop circle of ticks on the radar looking intimidating. The abductors moving in and moving away in disappointment, vast disappointment. The stream of razors and ports wasted on that distraction army. And this other small army of razors and pawns are on an exploration because the southern team just does not have vision. Yes, an utter waste. The ticks fleeing into the night. The razors and pawns futilely trying to see a target of opportunity. But we can see there are monsters in the darkness as Snooper moves down with the response razors. At least Red is able to go on the offensive with those pawns. But I must say by this stage, it is looking all over as Watch Me Do This has been allowed to prosper at 134 metal per second and almost 5,000 energy production at the 34-minute stage. Like there are many players by the 34-minute stage that cannot eco up this fast. And Watch Me Do This, no doubt, reclaiming Rex at a staggering pace here. Those pawns moving in, the response force of ticks. Not going to be enough, I don't think, but there's not really much to demolish here. Snooper got all the time in the world to deal with this. Sally forward by Watch Me Do This. Sprinters in the centre taking down a T2 Mex. Oh, that's quite funny to see sprinters. An excellent punch through and vision. The atomic bomber not able to take down the sprinters before they enact some more economic damage. Oh no, they actually did save that T2 Mex. Slowly moving through. No, those pawns actually were worth something. As we see all those T2 Mexes destroyed, the zone properly not defended by Snooper, but Snooper doesn't care, has the APHIS line well in hand. That's very safe in the upper corner of the map, resurrecting everything within sight. It feels like Snooper has map control. As the blue team here totally outflanks on the other side, VDB utilising that bottom of the map weak spot. Couple of LLT mayhaps. Jason says throwing stones from the sidelines. And now on the left, a small group of razors, only 7 or so, is going to come down south here. Jade Moo confidently says, I come stun. The abductors, 5 of them not being enough. Stardom at least has the commander here. This actually sort of worked. The abductors, of course, were never going to be enough. But did sort of stun 2 razors, 1 half dead response razor. Not going to be enough. The LLTs. Okay. Snooper still somehow doesn't... Yeah, is deterred by the Lazarus. Oh no. Getting a little bit low of health, so they're being a little bit cautious. Fair enough. As we see the red team is finally making a play for the edge of the screen here. Another... it's the third one. Paving the way for these wounded razors and resurrected shivers to move forward. Efficiency, the catch cry of Snooper's play. The third time. It's the high OS lobby. No anti-nuke. Okay. But there you go. Sometimes under the pressure, it's just not built. No anti-air, no anti-nuke, just shivers. We see the weakness of such a play in real time here. But in saying that, Stardom has been the only reason this team is still alive. Red is under a massive attack, but has 3 razors, which are going to be able to easily fend off the fast response force. It is still not a lost game as we look at the overall stats. It is achievably even. with some really good play. And we're going to see who is the best player. We see a great amount of abductors here, gifted from Snooper, a decent amount of them. But unfortunately, Jade moves in with enough fighters to take all that out. Mightn't have enough fighters to achieve air superiority. So Jade is still dangerous. Stardom calls Uncle, says Mercy, let's both draw. The now Southern team perhaps thinks it is all over. Getting 3 destruction of the same base is a little bit disheartening. There's not a lot left in Stardom, is there? So with the destruction of Stardom, I think we're seeing the beginning of the end here. This dubiously repaired reactor in the face of the enemy forces is the last remnants of the base. The Bastion defense behind Stardom says it all, really, in TM8D's confidence. That last reactor, it looks like it's going to get taken down. A Savior Razor. It's not enough, but actually does take down a Razor. The red team can still not break through. A massive force of pawns to face off against Razors. I'm not sure about that unit selection, but there you go. It is what it is. So we see the pawns move down tentatively. And what do we find here? It's a Ford base building Thors. Absolutely overpowered. As we see the efficiency of Snooper's play actually resurrecting this whole metal field. The units just standing around. Resurrected. Very interesting. So having to juggle many balls, playing like an AI player in Snooper. Whereas the Southern team, the red team, is just simply humans in the face of this. Unable to break the right is really been the issue of this game. Watch me do this. Repelling all the attacks has been absolutely critical as much as anything else. Allowing Snooper to form this line of doom. Moving forward and scouting with the Razors. Testing out the strength. And we see that on the radar here. It's just all these ticks are just sitting there being radar returns. Hiding the true amount of forces. Because you can't tell the difference between a Thor and a tick on the radar. Some massive explosions. Tactical missile barrage. That's so cool. The pawns are halved. Such a group of them. That really blew them up. I've never seen tactical missiles used on pawns. But there you go. It's important to cull maybe those pawn numbers. As we see the Thors move down at the exact same time, it kicks off on the other side of the battle. Initially repelled is Snooper. As we see, the Razors move up. There's the large group. Finally the attack we wanted to see. After building the massive Aphis farm, we see the appropriate number of Razors move in and around. Watch me do this as base. This line is in a standstill at the moment. The Snooper perhaps is a little bit worried that it's all going to go against him. As this line moves up towards the underbelly of Snooper, with VBD in the way here, the abductors moving forward. There's not enough of them for this large group, but does stop some of them temporarily. VBD unfortunately kept on producing pawns in the face of Razors, and with predictable results. Actually, this might be enough abductors, finally. Jade Moo is moving forward, but is getting intercepted in the air. Oh no. A Razor's... Yeah, there we go. VBD, totally done. Unfortunately, there's only one Razor left. What another few Razors could have done. The AA craft moving in. It might not be over. No, there we go. The abductors... No, the Razor moves forward. The Razor on hardly any health moves forward. No, it's going to get taken down by an abductor. Yeah, there we go. So, the pawns are moving in. The Rapid Response Force. Again, look at all these bastions. Absolutely annihilated. The pawns counted for nothing. VBD in a mad fit sends them forward. I think the time for that amount of spam has been well and truly over. Now the uber economy of red is starting to pump out the units. A big collection of Razors trying to move in and around this big force here. but it's not going to be enough because it's too close. We see the Razors shadowing this force, so does risk getting enfolded, and Red would be worried about all these radar returns. So we see this massive, I think, Rovers move down, but the Razors a little bit spooked rather than moving into it, allowing those Razors behind to catch up a little bit. So repelled by Rovers, that's very interesting. That's another force that could have perhaps broken through. But with the rapid response abductors, I'm not sure if it would have been worth it. I think that was the last play now. We're simply watching this play out. Snooper has snared the victory for the team, and watch me do this. Critical players, defeating essentially 4 players on the other team, which is quite impressive. The micro at hand, such as these grave robbers resurrecting the Thor to be used against this oncoming horde. Stardom is still in it, but I wonder for how much longer as an Armageddon fires off. Yes, of course, it goes for Stardom once again. And I think we know that where it's going to go for. It's going to be this base, surely. No, it isn't. It's the army. Oh, no. The 4th wipe. Stardom mentally fatigued, surely by now, having to rebuild. 52k metal, I think, is saying the reclaim field is that now after that new kit. Red desperately scrambling to meet this attack incoming, but is flanked all around. It's like the Indians surrounding the wagon wheel at the moment. Watch me do this has been the rock in the shoe which has broken the back of Red's base. Karma incoming. Will this attack work? I don't think so. But at least it does distract these forces from being up against the true threat, which is Snooper. VVD moving down. Somehow still got pawns. Moving them again into the bastion line. This will work this time, I swear. Very interesting. And Snooper, we can see just from the sheer amount of units starting to get the advantage. But look at that air. Look at the air advantage as the fighters move in. I think the Southern team is going to be dead to a series of bombers. Coswell says in the comments, 50 bombers is a lot to stop. The bombers moving forward. Stardom yet again. The 5th wipe we see here. I think the 6th wipe. Oh, Stardom is really taken a lot of abuse this game. But the bombers aren't finished yet as they move in towards now TM8D's APHIS. Still got 2 surviving APHIS, which is impressive as it heals up actually. Yeah, Snooper has broken through at this stage, mainly with AA bots, to be honest with you, but there are some Starlights behind them. So let's look at the stats, just as it looks like Blue's team is going to snatch victory here. We see a massive advantage in army value, 68%, and it's been consistent for some time now. We also see a 20% advantage in the economy, but in saying that, the metal produced between both teams has been even throughout the game. And we see Snooper and FFS very busy on the APM, over 100 each. And look at this troll APHIS, still building construction turrets. But the map control is the most important thing, even at the 50-minute mark as we approach. And that is what we see here. Despite the relative even economies, that doesn't matter in a game such as this. It's who uses the economy better. We're definitely seeing that from Snooper. And this is what I mean here. Look at this, repairing the Razor in the middle of a Razor fight, because Red just does not have the APM to extend himself to microing, whereas Watch Me Do This does. Finally, the response to retreat away from this nightmare. The flank on the other side at the same time. The Thors moving down. EMP and the Bastions are getting through that massive pork line. The pork line serving its purpose of making the enemy not go straight towards the most important economy of the Southern team. But there we go, the APHIS goes down. A matter of time before it's all over here. How will we see it all over? My money's on air. And the bombers are moving in. Jade Moo is here, however. It looks like Jade Mu has temporary air superiority and will take down those bombers. Well done, that's fantastic. I did not expect that. And APHIS taking down a number of bombers. Nuke bombers moving in, are they? No, they're T2 strategic bombers. They're all done. This one Thor at the end, it won't be enough, I don't think. 2 Thors. Perhaps they might take down some construction turrets. The response Titans are on the way. The Thors are approaching. It is becoming a close thing. Blocked by the positioning of the Titans. Thor's pointed in the wrong direction. Gets taken down by an errant missile. The Thor moving in. This is dangerous territory now. Thors, of course, have an unreal amount of hit points. I don't think it was microed right at the end there. Could have at least taken down some energy converters, you think. But look at this stream of units coming in. I think it's all over. It's danger close now to the APHIS farm. A matter of time. We see the anti-nuke respond to the nuke. So we see some surprisingly bad nuke selection right at the end, which does actually make me suspect Snooper now. It's always like the cover, isn't it? A few bad nukes at the end. Oh, see, I'm not spec cheating. So you never know, but it is a computer game and I don't fuss about it. I'm not paranoid when I look at people's play. I just say it as I see it. And here we go. The final Thor has gotten through. 40% left. 2% left. It's not... Oh, wow. Kaboom. That was an exciting game. Well done, Snooper. Well done. Watch me do this. The MVPs of the game. And we can see that with the score in the end. Destroy enemy resource production. Double any other players from Snooper. And the same with destroying enemy units and defenses. Leading by far. Stardom had the most efficient use of resources. No surprise there. Held on for dear life, as well as TM8D. And watch me do this. Snooper produced the most resources. FSS took the most damage. And Mizcow somehow slept the longest at 34 minutes. I'm not sure how that works. You must sleep if you stay on afterwards. It was such a gripping game, however, I couldn't blame Mizcow for staying because that was worthy of a good watch. Let me know if you enjoyed this HiOS cast. Let me know if you want to see another video just like this. As much as I like reviewing myself and talking about my own plays, I much prefer commentating others' plays. And if you know any other great games, send them my way. Thanks. Like and subscribe. See you next video.